It seems to be working. Greetings and salutations. I hope this video finds you doing well. This is just me goofing off. It's not really a video. I have set up a kind of a presentation to show you as I talk, but other than that, what we're doing here is just fooling around with a new toy because I bought a new laptop and I figured it would be fun to record a video on it using Simple Screen Recorder. And I am going to turn that preview off because it sucks up CPU cycles that could be better used elsewhere. So kick back, relax. We're just going to talk about this machine, and it was such a joy to set this up. Part of this video is just a big thank you going out to Debian and Linux Mint because it was a slick experience to get this thing going. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's get into that little presentation I was talking about. So here is the computer, and it is a Dell Latitude 3300 laptop. It is a touch screen. I didn't know it was a touch screen when I bought it. It has an NVMe drive in it, an M2, and it's a 256 gigabyte M2 drive that it came with. I didn't know that when I bought it because I didn't pay that much attention to the listing. I got to be honest with you. I was just thinking, well, I'm going to buy a computer and we'll see if it works. See, I've had a lot of drama in my life lately, boys and girls. My mom was in the hospital for a while. She is now staying with my sister. She's fine. And this is the last year that I have to deal with having a child that is in public school. My son is in his senior year, and it's an accelerated year. And what that means is that he's going to graduate in January. So between those two things, life has been crazy, and right in the middle of it, my good old Dell laptop that I've had forever died. It just quit. And those of you who have watched this channel for a long, long time may even recognize this machine. It's a Dell Inspiron. I can't remember what the number is. And it is a machine that served me well. When what you're looking at here is me installing Ubuntu, I think it was 14.04 on this machine. Because I bought it in like 2015 or, yeah, that was about right. So that's what you're looking at here. So I've had it for a very long time. And I've done all kinds of things with this computer. It had a big, it's a big machine. It's got a number pad. It's got a DVD drive in it. I mean, it's really cool. It's like almost like a desktop replacement. And I have formatted this machine with different operating systems through the years and loaned it out. My brother used it for a while he was on an extended visit, and I would be switching hard drives in and out of this thing. And its latest incarnation was being the computer that I was using to stream music from in my music room. That's where we're recording this right now. And it worked okay. It was all right. I wasn't having too many problems with it, but then it got really crazy. Probably within the last month, it started to do goofy stuff like the Bluetooth would get very choppy. It wouldn't work right. It wouldn't play back music. And the computer is literally, 5 feet away from the amplifier that it's hooked up to. And that was messing up. A few other things. Crazy stuff was going on. So I decided that I would try and install the latest Ubuntu on it. I was going to upgrade this machine from Ubuntu 2204 to 2404. And the upgrade went well, actually, except the Wi-Fi didn't work. But halfway through the upgrade, the machine started taking forever to boot. It would just freeze and stop. And I thought, well, is the hard drive going bad? What's going on with this thing? Took the hard drive out and plugged it in elsewhere. It's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So I was like, okay, this is dead. Just forget it. It's done. We're going to have to move on. So that's why I bought this machine. And I didn't know much about the 3300 when I bought it. This machine, the machine here that we're recording on. I don't want to confuse anybody because you're seeing pictures and you're going, what's he talking about? I didn't really pay that much attention. I was just looking for a basic machine that was newer than the old Dell and one that I could install some Linux distribution on, and hopefully the Bluetooth worked. So I went on to eBay. I have said for years in my videos, if you want an inexpensive Linux machine, go to eBay and look for these refurbished laptops. And this is exactly what this is. This is the eBay listing right here. Now, this cost me about $100 shipped, but the price is $89.76, and the listing here is discount computer. I'm gonna have to pick that up to see it. Oh yeah, Discount Computer Depot. So you can do a search for that, because if I put a link to this listing down there and they run out of these machines, it won't do you any good. I'm sure that they'll have more machines like it, because that's what these guys do. And I didn't really pay that much attention, right? All I was looking at, I said, oh, this is cool. Dell Latitude PC, and it's 3300, 13.5-inch screen, okay. 8 gigabytes of RAM, all right. And 256 gigabyte SSD, that's cool. And it came loaded with Windows 10. Now, I had no intention of using Windows 10 at all. As far as the SSD was concerned, I thought it was going to be a SATA SSD, which is fine. No, it's an NVMe. This is also a touch screen, and it is very slick. So I have a 256 gigabyte SSD in here, an M2 drive, and then a touchscreen machine. It's very nice. I don't know what year this is from. I haven't dug around to figure that out yet. I've done very little research. But what I can tell you is, when I got this machine, I got it very late yesterday, which was Friday. So this is Saturday. So today would be the 12th when we're recording this. So I got it on the 11th, and FedEx delivered it to my house at about 6, 7 o'clock. Well, by then I was actually working. I had a football game that I was listening to, waiting to get on the air after the football game. And so I was like, I can't play with the computer now. But then I got everything all ready, and I was ready to go. And yeah, I do radio out of my house. I know, on a real radio station too. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And I was sitting there going, well, I could look at it, right? So the ball game's going, and I'm listening, waiting for the ball game to end so I could do my show. And I opened up the box and plugged it in, and I grabbed Linux Mint Debian Edition 6 Fay and booted it. And it just booted right up. There was no problem, went straight to it. I hit F12, got the boot menu, boom, there I was. I was like, okay. So while I was sitting there, I said, well, why not? Let's install it. So I let it do it automatically. I just let Debian install itself, or a Linux Mint Debian Edition. Let's make sure get that straight. And it just installed, and it just works. There's nothing to do. And then I'm like I said, I'm doing this ball game, so I get the thing configured and updated and ready to go. And I thought, well, this is cool. So I had to go to work. Ball game ended. I had to go do my show. And when I got done, I went and grabbed a drive so I could put the data back on it, because I had backed it up from the old Dell. So I put that on there. And that's all I have done, is just go through the steps of installing Linux Mint, which I have done many videos on. And it works. This is it. No fooling around. Everything works. Wi-Fi, 5 gigs. Bluetooth hooked right up to my stereo the way I want it. It's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and close this, and I'll show you around on the desktop. How's that? And this is my Linux Mint desktop on this machine. Linux Mint Debian Edition 6 Fay. And I am using the Mint X theme. And the last time that I posted a video from my desktop like that, somebody said, why does your desktop look like it hasn't been updated in 10 years? Because I like it that way. I want it to look like Linux Mint 17. I think Linux Mint 17.3 was the most beautiful Linux Mint ever, honestly. So all of the Linux Mint machines that I set up now, this is the way I configure it to make it look this way for myself. So yeah, this is my Linux Mint desktop. I did scale up the screen. I think we're doing 1440 here, so if that looks a little weird or it doesn't say it's HD, that's why I don't know how YouTube is going to react to this when I upload it. Like I said, the Bluetooth, I was concerned about that because it's kind of why I bought the machine. And as you can see, it found my Sony amplifier and it is hooked directly to it. At some point, what I'm hoping to do is to get a long USB cable and get me a good DAC. I'm looking at Emotiva right now. They have a pretty good preamp DAC that maybe if I can get the money together, I'll buy one, and then I will use USB to come directly out of the computer and go into the DAC instead of using Bluetooth, because this is basic Bluetooth here. This is not with AAC. It's just the SBC codec. It's all right. For what I use it for, it's actually okay because I stream stuff out of the computer just for background, not serious listening. This is just so I can have some noise playing, and it's not that big a deal. The last video I did, I talked about setting up a digital music library, and this is what I do with it, is just stream it. It doesn't have to be super high fidelity. It just listenable is the thing. So, and I use this lovely piece of software here, which is Rhythmbox, which is the standard player. Like I said, I did very little to this when I put it. I'm not going to click play on this because it'll start playing, and then you'll hear music, and YouTube will go, hey, he's playing music. Let us give him a copyright strike and demonetize his video. So I'm not going to do it. But you get the idea. So I have all of these different playlists in here, and I've shown this before. And this is how we do it. So pretty cool. And I have some of my favorite artists in here, playlists, and then I have rock and roll. And I have figured out through the years how to sync up Rhythmbox from machine to machine. Basically what you want to do is take the configuration directory on machine A and sync it to machine B. That'll take all your playlists over, and then you can do individual settings from machine to machine and just keep ping-ponging that back and forth as needed. So let's see what's in this thing. What did I get? Now, I already showed you the specs, but we'll open up the system info and see what it says. Since I'm using the internal microphone, when I typed there, it probably sounded really loud. But just think, you're just watching it's just a podcast with I'm just sharing my screen in a Zoom meeting. That's all we're doing here on YouTube, though. So there's what we got. 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 SSD. And the one thing that kind of it didn't make me mad necessarily, but it kind of, I went, huh, why are you doing that? Is, let me grab, let's see, what would be the best program for this? I guess I get discs. Trying to type gingerly so it doesn't make a whole lot of noise in your ear. But if we look at the drive in here, you see we have partition up front, and this, of course, this is the EFI partition. It's the boot partition, right? And then we have this. Well, this is free space. Then we have EFI. And then we have an 8 gigabyte swap space, because if there's 8 gigabytes of memory. This is how the installer sets up your machine. If you just say, okay, go erase the drive and format it. I would much rather, on this machine that's never really ever going to be doing a lot of swapping, because the worst thing it's going to do is maybe play a YouTube video or have 2 or 3 tabs open on Google Chrome, for instance. I would much rather have like a 2 gigabyte swap file Now, on my main machine that runs the same thing, which is Linux Mint Fay Debian Edition 6, I caught that and went back and manually formatted the drive, put partitions on there I wanted, and then created the swap file afterwards. But if you really, honestly, it's not that big a deal if you have anything under, I would say, 8 gigabytes in the computer for it to for you to let it do this. This is fine. If you have a machine with 32 or 64 gigabytes of RAM in it, do not use that automatic installer. Go online and learn how to do it manually so that you don't have to do that, because you don't really want to set aside 64 gigabytes of hard drive space, which will absolutely never be used, because on a 64 gigabyte memory equipped machine, guess what, folks? You rarely ever swap anything. So, and if you don't know what I'm talking about here and you're scratching your head going, what do you mean? Go look up virtual memory Linux in Google, and it will tell you exactly what I'm talking about. So there you go. It's kind of a look around this little machine. And I set up it was just easy to do. I've got it on my network, and I can log into my main machine here and go grab files out of it. So using SSH, we're into that machine right now. Actually, what I want to do, we can do this. See how? Okay. Thank you. I don't know why that extra character appeared there. Oh, I know why. I went to hit the enter key, and I hit the key next to it. That's why. I was like, what is this thing doing? All right, we're going to use SFTP, which is one of my favorite little programs. And we're going to go back into this machine, and I'm going to try and send a file up to this other machine. This is going to be cool. Let's see how this works. All right, I am now in. By the way, SFTP is a dirty little file sender and receiver. It's based on FTP, so if you know how to use FTP, then SFTP is really cool. It just works with SSH. If you don't know about it, go look it up because it's really fun. So what I want to do is I want to put, let's try and do this. Let's try and type all the directories. Let's see what we're going to try and put this file up here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put work, and let's make sure that's okay. Yep, and I want to get this Dell. There's my, I want to put that onto the other machine. And it sent it up. Now, where it put it on the other machine was into the home directory there. And if you want to put it into the pictures directory, what we're going to do is we're going to CD, and we're going to change to pictures. Okay, this is CD. When I do that, I am changing directory on the other machine, not this one, not the one we're working from. So I'm going to send this to pictures. So if we want to see that, we'll just do, let's double check that went over. So pwd, present working directory, and it tells me that's where I'm at. So I should be able to arrow up and grab this same thing, and now we're going to stick it in there. Alright, now it went straight into pictures. So I'm going to get out of this. You can either type exit or you can type buy, and it'll let you out. And then we will SSH in the machine we've been playing with, which is my main computer. And I will show you the SSH in script in a moment. It's been so long since I've shown it on the channel that it won't hurt for me to show it. So let's see here. I'm going to show the files in here. And there's that Dell screencast where we don't want it. So we RM. And then tab to autofill. Yep, that's it. Good deal. So we can go ahead and get out of that machine. And let me go here onto this local machine. And if I can do this with Nano. And we're going to look in Ben. This is my local binary directory. And we're going to look for SFTP, SFTPN. So let me show you this one first, and you'll get the idea how this works. This is really quite easy. So if we look here, watch this, gang. For those of you watching on cell phones and whatnot going, I'm having a hard time seeing that. Well, what we'll do is we'll screen it. And we'll make it a little bit bigger. You guys who want to do Linux and computer help videos, remember this trick. Full screen your terminal, and then it makes it easier for everybody to see. So this is what this does. It is super easy, and yeah, it has all the official information up there because at one point this was on GitHub. So we'll go down here, and it's one little string. See, all it does is fills in the IP address for the machine. That's it. So you put in SFTP, and then you put in 11, let's say, or when you fired it off, you say 11. It grabs that goes into a variable, and you grab that variable and stick it on the end and fire off that command, and that's it. That's all this does. So let me get out of Nano, and let me go ahead and just show you the SSH in. So one of the things I've been meaning to talk about here on the channel is that I got off of GitHub not too long ago. They were just starting to really bother me, and I wasn't fooling around with it much, and people weren't downloading from my stuff like they used to. So I just went ahead and just got off the thing and deleted the account entirely because I'm not thrilled with it, how it's going. They wanted to turn on two-factor authentication, which was fine, and then they made that not as easy as I would have liked it to have been, and I just said, forget it. I'm just not going to do it anymore. So if you were somebody who was following me on GitHub and you noticed that I'm gone, that's why. Most people aren't these days. So anyway, you get the idea. There you go. Little scripting there. Now, I promised I would talk about doing the radio thing from home. I do a radio show 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday, on a radio station that serves Franklin and Henry County, Virginia. That's in the western part of the state, but I live in the eastern part of the state, and through the magic of the internet, I can do my show from home, and it plays on the radio station. And I'm going to put a link down in the description for this video, and you can go check that out. I do not make any extra money off of that, okay? At one point a long time ago, somebody said, I think it's kind of cringy that you talk about your radio station and ask people to listen. I get nothing out of it. I just work there. So this is HTOP running on this machine, and you will see that we have all 4 cores of the i3 working just a little bit. We're capturing HD video and uncompressed FLAC audio right now. That's what goes up to YouTube. So that amount of CPU activity while we're doing that is just no big deal at all. That's what you're seeing. That's where it comes from. So anyway, getting back to the radio station for just a moment. I will put a link down there, and you can stream us. It works anywhere in the world pretty much. If anybody tries to stream me and they can't get it for one reason, please let me know. Send me a comment. Because there are parts of the world where the stream is blocked for one reason or the other. And I don't know quite where that is. And the other thing that you'll have to do is figure out what time it is where you are for the radio show in your neck of the woods, because I tend to, I do it 7 to midnight, Monday through Friday. Fridays right now we're doing football game. Like I said, I have to wait for the game, and then I come on at the end. I didn't get on the air tonight until about 10 o'clock. But if you like country music, if you're curious about country music, you might like it. So wherever you are in the world, it's 7 to midnight Eastern Time, U.S. Okay, so let's go ahead and get out of here. I did install Midnight Commander on this machine. I noticed that Jay LaCroix, who runs Learn Linux TV, which is another channel, just put up a video about it. This is one of my favorite programs for the terminal. This machine, like I said, is going to do just a couple of things. It's going to basically be a music box. That's why I've called it Music Box. But I always have to have my tools on here, man. You never know. Never know. So let's see, F10 to exit. And I guess we'll wrap things up. I can't think of much else to talk about. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun putting it together. We're going to see what it looks like when it goes up on YouTube. I'm not even going to preview it. I'm just going to put it up there. I will play back a little bit of it to make sure the audio isn't terribly distorted, but let me know what you think. So, thank you for watching. We will do something soon. What? I don't know. You'll just have to wait and see.